Hello, this is Bobby Kimbrough. As always, first let me say how much I really appreciate the support, the love, and the kind words that you send me and you share with me. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and let you know what it means to me, all 12,000 plus of you. Well, had a very busy week this week. I first want to give thanks to the presiding Bishop Neil Evans of Global Fellowship for allowing me to be a part of serving this week, how he imparted into all of us that were present at the conference this week in Greensboro, North Carolina. Very busy week, very tiring week, but it was worth every hour that I stayed awake. I came home yesterday and I was tired, got a great night rest. And as I woken this morning, I got up early, about 6 o'clock, and I was walking through my house, and I peeked in on my children and saw that they were fast asleep, and asked myself a question as I looked at them: what will they awaken to? I moved on into the next part of the house and sat down, cut the television on, and I was surfing the channels and CNN, and the answer came to me that whatever they awaken to, I will be the deciding factor as to what they awaken to, not just today, but every day. And I started thinking to myself that what they see and how they cope with the world, they'll get it from me. So I sat down in my favorite chair and decided that I didn't want to watch CNN. So I put in my favorite movie, The Gladiator. I've seen the movie, I know, 20 times. But every time I watch the movie, I find something different, a life lesson in the movie. As I looked at the movie, I said to myself, why is it that they wanted to kill him? They went to extreme measures to kill him. One particular scene, he's in the arena, and he's fighting the adversary. And while he's fighting with his back facing the adversary, they released two ferocious tigers to attack him from the rear while he was fighting the adversary in front of him. And I asked myself in the movie, why would the producers go to such extreme measures to attempt to kill him or assassinate him? And of course, not only did he defeat the adversary and kill the tigers, the king asked, was that in the script? Was he supposed to win? But he won at any cost. And when the movie went off, I started sitting there thinking to myself and reflecting on my own life and reflecting just on life, period. And it dawned on me that they went to extreme measures because the actor in that movie, his assignment was so great that he had been commissioned by the king before the king died what he was supposed to do. And the adversary knew what his assignment was, so they had to kill him before he completed his assignment, which led me to the conclusion that in life, our assignments in life sometimes are so great that the assassins are greater or appear to be greater. So I took from that the greater the assignments in our lives, the greater the assassins. So at all costs, we must prepare for the ambush. We must live our lives preparing for the ambush. In other words, an example was, I realized that this past week, my assignment was to take care of the presiding bishop of the fellowship, His Grace, And I realized that my assignment was greater than myself. And at all costs, I must complete that, no matter what came at me. So a gentleman said, why do you have a car trailing you with no one in it but a driver? And my answer to him was that if the car that we in goes down, I don't want any hesitation on how he continues on. That's why there's a spare vehicle trailing me at all times. We must prepare for the ambush. In our lives, the question becomes, if you ever notice in certain homes or certain neighborhoods or certain people you talk to, they'll say, well, I'm going out to buy a generator. Why do you have a generator if you have electricity? But during a snowstorm or very inclement weather, you'll see one house or two houses on the blocks that are not in darkness. They're carrying on because they have a generator. They have prepared for the ambush. You ask yourself, why do I save, or why would you save beyond the moment? When difficult times came during the early depressions in the 30s, I remember having a conversation with my father-in-law, God rest his soul, James Fowler. He kept $10,000 in his house. I didn't realize that until one day he had fallen sick, and my wife and I went to the house, and we were sitting there before she passed, and we were talking, and she was saying, baby, you know what my dad does? And I said, no, what? And she showed me different places in the house where he had hid various amounts of money for a total of $10,000. So one day, after he had come out of the hospital, I said, Mr. Fowler, Clem was sharing with me about in the event of something happening, what she should do or what should happen. And I said, why do you have money in the house buried in difficult places? And he said, son, I lived through the Depression, and it was a horrible time. And I made a promise to myself that I would never be caught if the market crashed without enough money to survive until the market restored itself. And I thought about that this morning. Even then, he was preparing for the ambush. So the message that I want to give to all 12, 15,000 of you is that in every walk of your life, your children's life, your family's life, we must start to prepare for the ambush. We must start to prepare for what if. We got to start preparing for generational success, generational intelligence, generational education, generational wealth. Because if we don't start to prepare for beyond the moment and generational wealth, we'll confine ourselves to generational poverty. So as I leave you, I want to tell you that I love you. I want to thank once again Bishop Ellis for allowing me to serve this week. And as we go forward, in the words of him, let's start to run with the horses, according to my bishop. Let's run with the horses. So as we run with the horses, let's start to prepare for the ambush. Until we talk again, may God continue to smile upon you. And I love each and every one of you. Thank you again.